Passion, drive, and patience. The formula of winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything for you to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED lights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has it covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices that you want. It's easy to make your car the MVP it needs to be and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Again, ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I don't want to mess up my hair.
Okay.
Are you going to wear your headphones?
Yeah, just because I just have to. Let me see. Yeah, that's why.
Why would you have to? It's just you and I in a room here.
No, I know, but as far as just like doing this,
to make sure the sound's good and everything.
Just being a host, I'm just used to it. I mean, I could go ahead and not.
Are we videoing it or no?
No. It's just you and I on no video, podcast only.
All right.
This is what the people want.
Well, you got to give it to them.
Okay. Well, here it is. Welcome to this first ever. I have a few names for this podcast, but I'm going to save them for later. But I think the plight of the white man is definitely in play.
What about the blizzard? Because they call us snowflakes. So
is that okay? That's something that we could throw in the hopper there. We're definitely not going to be the snowflakes.
No, not the snowflakes. The blizzard.
The blizzard. Okay.
That's what happens when snowflakes attack, motherfucker.
Oh my God! I can only imagine what people are thinking right before they decide that they're going to listen to this podcast with two people that they despise. You, me, and my mom are the most hated people on the show. I think.
Will we establish that?
I'm just based.
I mean, I think it's a pretty safe bet. But you know, I've always been told as long as they feel something about you, it's better. It's better than them feeling nothing.
Yeah, that's all bullshit, by the way. Now, I want everybody to know that Brian and I have we're doing this podcast, and I asked Brian last week because I knew that Bubba was going to be out, and I was looking for some A+ programming, and I think Scout and Big Gulp have wanted this podcast for a while, so I think they donated $50, and I said, all right, that's enough to get us to do it. But we're making it work. We're doing kind of a bro date. So right now we're doing the pod, and then after it, we're going over to the Holiday Inn to the fucking conference room for a card show that's happening.
And Chingy's going to be doing a set.
There's like a card show that happens at the Holiday Inn every month. I haven't gone in a while just because I haven't really had the money to buy cards. And it's almost like a strip club where you kind of have to spend money when you go on there. I just feel like I can't walk by some of these poor fucking bastards and not buy anything. So you're going. Is this going to be your first card show?
Yeah, I've never gone to a card show before. Now, I understand when you say you don't have money, but you have cards. Why don't you barter?
I have cards, but I'm not. We're not going to be there long enough for me to lay out everything I got and try to make these heavy hitting trades. You know, like I'm pretty happy with what I have right now. So I've really cut back on buying boxes and packs and just kind of zoned in on buying single cards, which is something that I know you do. But you're going over there, and you're big into Junior Caminero, who's a prospect for the Rays, who they called up, and Victor Wembanyama, who is the Rookie of the Year in the NBA. You got a ton of their cards. You got a fucking black carrying box that you're going over there with. We talked about you because all the guys over there, they're wearing the fucking, sweatpants and jerseys and, tank tops and all this, shit. We talked about Brian wearing a tuxedo. I'm wearing a button-down shirt just because I figured that if we were going to haggle, if we're wearing, impressive clothes, maybe we might have the upper hand.
I decided to do the button-down Rays shirt. So not only do I look like I'm professional, but I still look like I know what I'm doing.
You look sporty.
I look like I'm from the front office,
So, do you have anything? Well, I don't know if I'm gonna, I don't know if we're gonna film or not because I'm not. It is a little awkward in there sometimes, just when there's not a lot of people and you and I are going kind of early. I mean, if it's hustling and bustling, then I could film it. But I don't know how much we're gonna show. But it's gonna be quite the scene when Brian and I are walking around the different vendors' tables, looking through their fucking, $1 card box to see what kind of steals that we could take home.
Yeah, I mean, I like a good deal. I'm not opposed to trading, a $30 card for three $10 cards, hoping that those $10 cards will all increase in value at the same rate that the $30 card does, because then you can make more money that way.
And this is what Brian, when did you get into cards, man? I
was in as a kid, and then I got back in it I wanted to get back in it for a while. I watched the breaks and would have Facebook videos suggested of people ripping packs and stuff. And I wanted to get back into it. And then when you got back into the show and you were into it, I'm like, okay, this is something that we can bond over and it'll be fun.
Because I'm cool and you wanted to do something cool to be cool with me, right?
Well, cool is an interesting word. We're Sigmas. Everybody says we're betas. We're actually Sigmas.
What's a Sigma?
A Sigma is a guy who kind of does his own thing and doesn't really give a shit about what everybody else thinks. An alpha is ultra concerned with the way he appears and the way other people think about him.
Oh, so I thought it was just alpha or beta, but there's others.
Oh, no, there's other things, man. I just learned about Sigmas. I think we're Sigmas.
How did you learn about Sigmas? Did somebody tell you that you were one, or you were really tired of being called a beta and wanted to find an alternative?
No, I think I was reading an article, and I went down to the comments, and somebody goes, he's an alpha, and then somebody else goes, no, he's a Sigma. And I'm like, wait, Sigma? And so I looked, and yeah, it's actually a thing.
Okay, so that's what you and I are?
We're Sigmas, yeah.
Okay,
yeah, so if
perfect.
anybody says you're a beta, go, no, I'm a Sigma, man.
I love it. Have you smoked any weed before?
I've done it. I don't like it. I like uppers, man. And I know there's weed that makes you up. So I did a gummy in Vegas that was it made me so chuckly and it made me kind of feel euphoric. I wouldn't call it an upper, but it was way better than a typical high.
It sounds like that was a sativa. That's kind of that's kind of what people do throughout the day. It's more like a head high, and it keeps you alert and up on your feet and all that shit.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that as a one-off, but for the most part, man, I prefer to feel aroused rather than depressed. My senses.
Oh, did you feel cool at all when you ever have done weed?
Cool as in hey, I'm a cool guy doing weed?
Yeah, do you feel
no.
hey, I'm a cool guy doing I feel cool because I'm doing a gummy. I feel cool.
Or
no. When's the last time you felt cool?
Man, I don't know that I've ever really felt cool.
Come on, everybody's walking out of the house trying to feel cool every day.
No, not that. See, you may not be a Sigma then if you're worried about that.
Well, I'm not worried about that I'm not just saying by how I dress, but I'm just saying just how I go about my stuff. I want to be cool.
Oh, well, yeah, I think you are cool.
I want people to be like, hey, that guy's cool.
Yeah, I think you're cool. It looks like sometimes, with the hats and everything, you think about it. I can tell that you...
What do you mean with hats? What do you mean? You're not allowed to wear any hats on the show. You mean on the show stuff or just when we're out and about?
No, when you're out and about. You look like you put thought into what you're going to wear.
I appreciate you saying that. I surely don't. But
a hat. I'm going to wear this hat for this occasion.
I got a few hats.
You do. You have some nice hats. I think, and you wear the hats well. You have a good head shape for a hat.
Really, I have a massive head.
And I think that helps with the hat.
And part of it is I really, my whole wardrobe honestly consisted of and still does of lightning stuff. And I really am just been trying to phase it out. So, I had a fucking shitload of lightning hats. I had pretty much my whole wardrobe was lightning shirts. And now I'm trying to get outside of that just because, they had let me go. And I just was, I need to get them out of my life. I don't need to necessarily set all their shit on fire, but I needed to get some new clothes in my wardrobe. Are you impressed with the button-down shirt that I'm wearing to the card show?
Yeah, I'm very impressed. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to you going up to the table and interrupting and being like, he's not doing that. That's a terrible deal. And
do you know, I can't, how I am I fear rejection. I've feared it my whole life. It's why I was able I would never went to a prom or a homecoming because I could never go ask a girl out, and I've never negotiated anything. I think the most I ever negotiated was when I first got on radio, and I was negotiating through my program director, who was a friend. So I just asked for $5,000 or $10,000 more, and it was never such a big deal. But I'm able to do it, Brian, with card guys. I can go up to card guys, and I'm like, hey, how much is that? And I'm like, they're like, 60. I'm like, you got any room on that? And then when you ask the guy, they're like, I can do 50. And I'm like, well, all right, cool. I'll do that. So I feel I'm in another world when I'm around the card stuff now because it's I'm coming into being a different person when I'm there.
Well, I think it's almost like there's a level of expectation with it, right? If you didn't haggle, it would be weird. I think it'd be the opposite.
I never haggled though. I always and you know what? I got fucked a couple of times
because
I know I've spent way. I didn't know. I think part of being in cards and all that stuff is probably getting fucked at the beginning until you learn actually what you're doing. I mean,
isn't that anything though? Like poker, like when you're learning to play poker, you go there and you're giving money away, but it's a part of the process so that you hopefully can make it down the road.
Exactly. And it's just like same when I was getting into weed back in the day. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I was buying shit and it wasn't doing anything for me. And then I realized that there's different kinds of weed and everything like that. And so again. That was another aspect of it. Weed was fucking $400 back then, and it's much more. It's much cheaper now. So you don't feel cool at all at like there's no events or not when you're on the radio or anything like that.
Not really, man.
Because you're cool to me.
Well, the thing is, I really and genuinely just don't care. Like, I don't care what Bubba thinks of me. I don't care what the listeners think of me. I care what my wife and my daughter think of me.
Do you want your daughter to think that you're cool?
Not really. I don't need her to think that I'm cool. I need her to think that I'm reliable, I'm dependable, I'm trustworthy, and I will always be there for her.
Oh, shit. Well, all that stuff I think is already locked in, right?
I don't think it's not a given. There's a lot of dads that aren't like that.
Right, I know, but I don't think when, I'm doing whatever, I'm watching the Chiefs-Bears game with my daughter and I'm, being cool because, she's somewhat into the Chiefs. She doesn't know who to root for, my hometown Bears or, her Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce Chiefs. I don't feel like she's wondering, like, if I'm going to be there for her and shit. Like, I feel like she knows that's a part of it. So now I want her to just always think that I'm much better and cooler than her mom.
Is that why you introduced the party words with her?
Brian, I'll be honest, man. I am, and I don't. I'm gonna sound like some sort of free speech guy, which I don't. Yeah, free speech is cool and everything, but I don't. This isn't like I say the N word or I say.
Whoa!
Like, this isn't like. Was that?
He went to the N word.
I mean, that's. I mean, I know a lot of people that don't.
You do?
It's a harsh word. Like, if I'm thinking of a harsh word, I'm thinking the N word. Okay, so there's certain words that I won't say. But I've never really had an issue with cussing. And I know it's like, be respectful and don't do it in front of your mom and all that. But my parents always cussed in front of me growing up. Like, I've never really had an issue with it. And I decided that, when I had a kid, I feel I don't want to censor the artistic nature of her conversations. Brian, she'll just be like, you'll hear it now. She'll just be like, oh, fuck this. Just all of a sudden, just in the middle of something, like you'll hear her do that in a Mario Kart race. And my wife and I, we both crack up. And it is a kid saying a bad word. I think it's just a small joy that we can have in life if we don't censor the children and we only censor certain things that could get us beat up, murdered, or killed.
I love two things in this world: watching other people's kids curse and watching toddler fights. Like they're those two things. Like I could watch videos of that all day long.
I was gonna say, have you seen toddler fights in real life, or I gotta search toddler fights?
Not in person, but you gotta search for it. It's on the dark web.
And can you bet on the kids, like cockfighting?
No, I don't. Okay. I don't think it's like that.
Okay.
I don't think it's like that. But I just love because they can't really hurt each other, right? So it's just seeing them go at it like that as little kids, like another kid bop another little kid, is hilarious to me. And then hearing other people's kids curse. Now, my own daughter does not use words of curse, and it's just something that I think my wife wouldn't appreciate if she was going around dropping F-bombs.
Right.
And so that was one of the struggles of deciding to have a kid, was because I curse. I don't fucking care. Like, to me, words are just words.
Yeah.
And I don't get too caught up in it. But I do respect, like, if my mom said, hey, please don't curse, or, somebody said, hey, watch your language, I would.
They only say that shit when you're at a baseball game and there's a kid there and you're, like, cussing, and then someone's got to tell you to, pipe down, and then you feel like a real fucking felon.
Well, you're out there dropping the N-bombs.
Well, I'm not dropping N-bombs, okay? My dad told me at a very early age, and I really fucked up here with Sam, because my dad told me we were at a wrestling match and in Orlando, just like a fucking house show, and somebody yelled the N-word at one of the wrestlers. And I asked my dad, I was like, what does that mean? And he goes, don't ever say that word. He's like, that's one of the worst words. And I was like, got it. I'm not going to fucking say that word. So apparently when I was telling Sam, that there's certain words she can't say, and she was asking, I guess I told her that there was an N-word that she couldn't say, because one day we were talking about it, like a couple months later, and she's like, what's that N-word that you told me about? I was like, did I tell you what the N-word was? She goes, no. I was like, okay. I was like, you're not ready to know about that one yet. So, she is inquisitive. So we will have a very diverse vocabulary for her as she gets older. But I think hopefully you can see, Brian, that really for me, I'm not like some fucking hippie parent, but like I kind of just fancy myself as like an artist, and I feel like I want my daughter to be able to be creative, and if she wants to use cuss words at home in front of me and maybe not in front of her mom, like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. A victimless crime, as they would say.
Yeah.
Much like prostitution.
Unless she starts dropping it at school and getting in trouble,
right.
And it's a distraction, then it becomes problematic.
What are you saying? My kid's a thug that she's going to cuss at school? She knows what to do.
I'm just saying she seems to be on that track,
On the fucking on the
living the thug life,
on the cussing at school track.
Yeah, she's gonna go around. She's gonna start saying, I'm going to call you the N-word.
When I find out what it is, I'm going to call you
when
the
I
N-word.
find out what it is. Hard R.
Did you,
Sammy, if you're listening to this, don't use the hard R.
No, God, no. She doesn't listen to any of my shit, but she does think it's cool when I'm on YouTube.
Well, why stifle her? Why don't you let her listen to your artistic stuff?
Well, the thing is, it's one thing when it's my artistic stuff, but when I'm involved in Bubba's art, and Bubba's art involves a lot of sex, a lot of things that involve me and Phoebe that I don't want my poor daughter to hear about. So there are certain artistic things that I will need to censor her from, but eventually I realize my whole catalog will be available for her on the internet one day when I'm long gone.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't really thought about that, and I've shared the Vegas, threesome stories and things like that, and my daughter's going to get to hear that, and that's sad. My daughter found out the other day that I was married before mommy.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that was pretty big.
Holy shit! How did that come up accidentally?
We were at dinner, so we try to once a week have because my parents, they live with us, so we try to all sit down once or twice a week for a family, like a full-on, all five of us eating dinner, playing a game, doing something like that. So we were there, and something, I don't remember exactly how it came up, but Steph, my wife, goes, do you know Daddy was married before Mommy?
Oh my God.
I'm like, oh, really? We got to do that? And Hardy goes, what? And I'm like, yeah. There was somebody I was married to, but we didn't work out.
That's got to freak a kid out, Brian.
Of all the things in the world, because she will hyper obsess on some stuff, she kind of just let it go. Like, we changed the subject and it never came up again. So I think it was either it traumatized her and she didn't want to talk about it further, or it confused her and she didn't want to talk about it further. But thank God, because I didn't want to get into all that.
Oh, that's going to come up again, my friend.
Of course it will.
And whether it's in therapy or whether it's when you least expect it, that will come up, and she'll want to know why you love somebody other than Mommy and what you guys did together and if you kissed and everything like that. And you're going to have to explain that to her, Brian. And you know what? That's your dark side. I might let my daughter cuss, and I might let her know that there's words out there that she can't say that are really racial epithets, but I haven't been married before.
Yeah, at least you haven't had a failed marriage.
I don't have.
I mean, you may be actively engaged in. No, I'm just joking.
Okay, listen, the marriage is on the brink every day. I mean, if you're married, I don't know how the marriage isn't on the brink, especially with this how we're living in America today, Brian. I mean, the way that just America is just falling apart. This is an election for democracy. It's the most important election ever. Did you watch any of the DNC? Were you getting caught? I did text Brian yesterday. I go, did you hear anything about Beyonce or Taylor Swift? Because I figure Brian's really in on the all the Democratic scene, and he said he didn't even know there was a special guest. They did say that Beyonce was supposed to be there. It never fucking happened. Do you think? I know I've asked you 12 questions in this one, but do you think that someone started those rumors just to get people to watch?
I think that may have played a part in it. I think also there was a lot of people that were in there in the morning time when they were preparing, and they heard Beyonce songs, and then they saw the drum line, the Chicago Bulls drum line, and they started creating this theory that there was going to be this special guest, and looking at the timeline of things. I have to say that not having Beyonce was probably the best thing that could have happened for Kamala. I mean, talk about being how do you follow up Beyonce?
Well, I thought Beyonce was going to close. That's why. I mean, I didn't
come out after Kamala.
Well, listen, Brian. I was watching it last night. It already happened, or it was happening on YouTube, and I was just rewinding it to see some of it, and I saw all the Kamala stuff, and I'm sitting through it. And I'm like, okay, when's Beyonce coming out? When's Beyonce coming out? Because I had seen all the DNC up to that point, and I was like, all right, this is okay. I was like, okay, Kamala's going on, so they're gonna fucking shut it down. Balloons are gonna come down, and then it's gonna be Beyonce, and it's gonna be a fucking party. Everybody's up there dancing with their families and all that awkward stuff. And I waited until they went off the air, and they're like, this is over. They brought out a rabbi. They brought out like a reverend. They were talking about all coming together, and then boom, that was it. So yes, I thought that Beyonce was gonna close it when I didn't see Kamala. When I didn't see her before Kamala.
Yeah, once I thought about it more, like I was like, there's just no way you wouldn't. You're trying to get Kamala and raise her position, right? She really wasn't liked or known or appreciated prior to becoming the presidential nominee.
We're still not sure how anybody really feels. I mean,
yeah. So
I still don't know what she. I mean, listen, and I know people are going to. They call us the libs and all that shit, and that's all fine. But I'll tell you, man, I still don't know what Kamala Harris is all about. I mean, I last night she talked a lot about her mom and her upbringing, and it seems like she gets a lot of stuff from her mom, and her mom was tough, and her mom was inspirational, all that stuff. But I don't know what the fuck she's about.
Yeah, I mean,
do you? I mean, she hasn't put anything out there yet.
I think, like most politicians, she's about herself. She
had me fooled last night.
Well,
I thought she was for America.
Well, then she did her job, right?
She fooled me. Am I that? Come on, are you paying attention to this shit? Are you checked out because you have to vote for Trump because you lost a bet on the show?
No, I watched with my wife, and I'm always curious to see what my wife thinks of things because she is like that middle 20% of America that is just not engaged.
Yeah.
And doesn't follow politics. She's kind of apolitical. I mean, she has her beliefs. It's not like she's a moron.
Am I apolitical?
What's that?
Am I apolitical?
You are. Yeah, I think this show forces you to be more
mindful
aware
of what's going on.
than you would otherwise be. Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
I think you would be more apolitical if not for your position. But she has just zero desire, like, at all.
I get it.
Yeah. And so
she's got a life. Why would you want to get involved in that shit?
So last night when I told her Beyonce might be on the TNC, she's like, "Oh, I'll watch it with you." And she's also a big fan of Pink.
Right.
And Pink sang with her daughter. My wife to this day says Pink is the greatest live performer she's ever seen.
You know what? One of my best friends, Danielle, loves Pink. A lot of people, and I saw Pink open up for Lenny Kravitz years ago. It was an opening set, so it wasn't anything that great. But I've heard really good things about.
She does like trapeze artist shit in the middle of her show.
Oh,
I mean, it's pretty. And while she's singing, it's pretty amazing. Apparently, I didn't go to that concert with her, but every time she sees Pink, she's reminded that was the best live performance she's ever seen. So she was fine with that, and then so she ended up watching Kamala go. And she said to me, she's like, man, I just have no connection with her. I don't feel it. She goes, it all feels forced. And I said, that's what I think her problem's going to be is she is not charismatic. She doesn't engender this sense of like when you hear Obama speak, I don't care who you are. You can hate the guy, whatever. He is inspirational. He is aspirational.
But once you say he's in the way in the upper echelon of speakers, like
but that's who our presidents used to be, dude. Like we used to have really high quality presidents from an oration point of view. They used to be able to give a good speech.
Well, Trump can talk. I mean, like...
Oh, he can talk.
I mean,
I had no doubt that there's words that come out of his mouth nonstop. He can talk.
Trump can talk. Trump can speak. But I think when you're looking at, like, RFK, who, he just dropped out and endorsed Trump, like, that just happened today as we sit here on Friday. Like, he was... Like, I don't think he's a great speaker. Like, I don't think that Joe Biden was. I don't think that Kamala Harris was. But I don't know, man. I'm just looking for... what's the most important thing? What's the most important thing to you when they're talking about all the shit that they're gonna, implement for the country? What are you paying attention to the most, or do you not?
What they're saying doesn't matter as much as is what they're saying. Do they at least make it sound believable? Because they're not going to do shit that they're saying. Okay, they're going to do very little of what they're saying they're going to do. The president has limited powers, okay? There's only so much they can do. Now, they can have a Congress that they're going to try and get things eventually that they would pass if they did pass, and they can kind of spearhead that. But they themselves can only do so much. But what, to me, a great statesman is somebody who can get you and the world to believe that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. Because you can fake it and still make it.
So you want the smoke and mirrors? You would. That's
not just there. It's all smoke and mirrors. I want it to be believable. Like if you go to a magic show,
you're telling me Coach Walls isn't believable?
I'm saying they're all fucking actors. The entire world's a stage, and they're all playing a role, and that's fine. But if you're watching this show, do you want to watch a shitty magician that you can see the trick happening on and you know it's fake, or wrestling? Let's say it's like wrestling. Right?
Oh, it's like wrestling.
Do you want a guy who can't really cut a promo? Do you want a guy that can't sell a move? Do you want a guy that can't, perform in the ring? Are you going to watch that wrestling? Or are you going to respect when, greats like Rey Mysterio and Shawn Michaels get in the ring together?
I love I was waiting for you to drop what wrestlers you were going to drop, so I saw you hesitating, so I had like 9 ready to go for you.
Well, I mean, was there? What do people? Macho Man, one of the greatest workers of all time, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's up there. Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect, Paul Orndorff or Kurt Hennig? Oh no,
Kurt Hennig.
Kurt Hennig, yeah. Mr.
No, not
Wonderful.
Paul Orndorff.
Yeah, Paul Orndorff was Mr. Wonderful.
No, Mr. Wonderful. He's just a bodybuilder that wrestled.
So when did you realize that Beyonce wasn't coming out last night?
Probably around the time that Giffords took the stage. Gabrielle Giffords.
Okay, I don't even know. I must have missed.
She was the one that got shot in the head.
Oh my goodness! No, I didn't see that.
Oh, she didn't get shot in the head last night.
Oh my God! They really cleaned that shit up and got the Dixie Chicks on stage.
Well,
after,
it is Chicago.
Happened.
It's not the Dixie Chicks. It's just the Chicks.
I go. Do you know? I was watching because I was just watching this shit on YouTube on my phone as I was just doing all my baseball card shit. I ran in. I'm like, Phoebe, did you know that the Dixie Chicks are still there? They're called the Chicks now. She's like, yeah, that happened like 10 years ago. Where have you been?
What'd you think of their performance? My wife was like, weak.
I mean, I thought it was fine. I don't even know how to judge something like that. I don't know how to judge Pink's performance. I don't know how to judge any of it.
Well, Pink's and her daughters was touching, and they harmonized together, and it was nice. I was underwhelmed by the Chicks, but it is funny to me. My wife is like hyper fucking critical of singers, and she can't sing at all.
Right.
She's fucking terrible. And yet, I hear her like, oh, the Chicks sound awful. I'm like, who the fuck are you?
It was like, it's kind of funny. It's like how Phoebe's I wouldn't say she's disconnected from politics, but she's got other shit going on. And
I was gonna say, I've seen her social media posts, and she seems somewhat political.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
she has an opinion. Now she's not like super like hardcore about it, but she will share occasionally.
Oh, I must have her muted or something. I've missed all of her political tweets. In fact, I don't even remember what I was going to say about Phoebe. So
you were talking about how my wife can't sing, but she was hypercritical of the Chicks.
Oh, so she walked in, and so we don't have. There's nothing we had to talk about politics. It's not like we disagree. We have just lives and other shit going on that we gotta complain about. So she came and she's like, that they spent like a lot of money to hire TikTokers and stuff to go to the DNC, and I go, yeah, and she's like, that's really smart because that's where people are. I was like, that's fucking stupid. I go, you're giving all this money to a bunch of fucking idiots so they can get another bunch of fucking idiots to try to vote for this person? I was like, that's dumb. So I started yelling at her, just like it's like she's chiming in like this person can't sing. I was like, now she's chiming in, this is a good idea, and I shut her down. She walked out of my office fucking crying, Brian.
Really?
Yeah, no, but I still.
I was gonna say, wow.
I told her I thought it was a fucking stupid idea. I don't know why it bothered me all of a sudden.
Well, I hate the whole influencer culture that we live in. But it does make sense. She's absolutely right about that.
But wouldn't you? I mean, but isn't it better if somebody genuinely wants to cover you and genuinely wants to be there, and you don't have to just pay a bunch of people to go there? Like, when Alex.
What does it matter though? Like you're looking for an emotional connection with that? I mean,
no, I just want something to be. I want something to be.
Phoebe, I only want this hand job tonight if you really genuinely want to do it. Well, listen. Otherwise, I don't want it. It's just I don't want it to feel forced.
Okay, well, you know what? It's funny you bring that up today because I was having relations with my wife today because I'm off work and little one's at school and she works from home. So I was trying to do my thing. And you know what I could tell, Brian? The whole time I'm like, she's waiting to get back to work. She's waiting to get back to work. Like she needs this to be over. I could tell, even the look in her eye. Like she was just like, her eyes were like, what the fuck? It's like the previews at the movie theater. Like when is this shit gonna end? And all of a sudden I was just like, fuck, man. The pressure just fucking got to me, Brian. And I couldn't perform anymore.
Oh, when I know and get that sense, because there's times when women feel like they're doing it out of a sense of duty, right? Which is probably almost all the time.
Yes,
with me.
But still, like, what am I gonna do?
I take my time. I am absolutely in no rush.
You're making love.
and if she's got something to say about
This is an ad by BetterHelp. What are your self-care non-negotiables? The things you know make you feel better even when it's impossible to make time for them. Like that workout you try to squeeze in between kids' activities, work, and everything else you have going on, and before you know it, it gets pushed to tomorrow. Sound familiar? But it's the moments when you feel like you have no time for yourself when those non-negotiables are more important than ever. Those are the things that keep you strong, healthy, motivated, and prepared to take on everything life demands of you. So why not make therapy one of them? BetterHelp Online Therapy makes it easy to get started with affordable phone, video, or live chat sessions you can do from anywhere. And the option to message your therapist between sessions if anything comes up. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com.
it, I'm going to say, well, your effort's just really not there, so you're not feeling connected right now. So maybe try a little harder. But no, I'll absolutely take my time in those scenarios. I'm like, oh, you got better things to do?
But you can tell. I mean, you can tell when you can tell when they don't want to be there.
Which I mean, it's most of the time.
Right, that's most of the time. Right. It's like the thing is that like she's in it for like a real good like 5 to 10 minutes. It's like she's probably like a 6-man, Brian. She maybe can't be my starting wife anymore because she'll give me some great minutes off the bench, but like she doesn't have the stamina nor the time to be a starter for me.
The Mormons have it right. I mean,
with
let's
the 4
face
wives?
it. Yeah, I mean, no wife wants to be a full-time wife.
I think that's.
Honestly,
I think that's how it's supposed to be.
And that's why their men are so fucking successful.
I think that they're supposed to be many wives.
I think so. Biologically, I think so.
And I think that women, I think the reason why it's not able to work is because women have caught on to it and they've started to hate each other. So now that women hate each other, nobody wants to live with 3 other women. They've decided that the guy is the trophy when the guy is really not the trophy at all.
No, we're gross.
Right. It's about
and they don't even need us anymore.
They don't. It's about you forming a bond with those other women. So when this guy dies, you split his fucking money and then you guys really live your life. Okay? So
I don't know in the Mormon thing that it works that way, like with the splitting of the money. I think it either passes to his son or it goes back to the church.
Okay. Well,
I'm not 100 on that. So if you are Mormon and you want to like call in next week when I'm on, you can set me straight.
Look at that. Brian's committed to do another podcast. I love it.
Oh, I meant on the big show.
Oh, the big show. Okay.
We'll do this again. I enjoy this. You don't have to twist my arm to get me on here to do a podcast with you.
I felt like I did.
It came across that way in your text, and I didn't immediately respond to you because I didn't see it right away. I was busy, but once I did respond, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Just tell me when.
What came across that I respected your time and that you're busy?
Yeah, you seemed like you were kind of tiptoeing around, like you were apprehensive to ask me about it.
Well, I told you I fear rejection, but
you you fear rejection from me about a podcast? Come on, man,
dude, you're a busy guy, and the thing is that people will always suggest, and I know people there's no malice behind it at all, but it's something that I get from a million different directions. It's like, you should do a podcast with this guy. You should do a podcast with that person. You should do this. They should be a hookup. It's like, you should do a podcast with Dan. Dan should do a podcast. I'm like, okay, that's great, but Dan has another job. Like, Dan has a full-time job, and then Dan comes in here. Brian has a full-time job. Brian has a family. Like, so it's when you want to start grabbing all these people, like, I try to be mindful of the fact that you have a life, you have a job, and to come in and do a podcast that really, doesn't necessarily benefit you in any way other than, just entertaining some people, I think is, you're doing me a favor. So I am nervous when I ask those things.
I enjoy doing the podcasting. I don't need to be compensated or have any end game out of it. I think sitting around and talking and, having banter is fun. To me, it's stimulating. It's exciting. And, just knowing that, we're sitting here, I don't think we're having any substantially different of a conversation than we would if we were just sitting around having a beer or smoking a joint or whatever it may be.
Well, that's the thing is that, you and I, pretty much almost every other week that you're here, we'll end up talking for 20 minutes in the parking lot in the fucking scalding sun, and we can't even look at each other because we're blinded by it and we're sweating and we're like, what are we doing? Can we go stand under a tree? Like that's why I said we've had these podcasts out there where we just haven't even planned anything and we could just talk about anything for a while. So that's why I thought that this would be a good idea.
No, I love it. It's a great idea. Love you, Scouting Big Gulp. Stay safe out there, girls.
What are we doing? What are we doing for the Tooth Fairy these days? What are we giving?
Man, it's Tooth Fairies clip me. So my daughter lost her first tooth when we were in Orlando at my wife's work. Had a little work convention out there.
What was that, a couple months ago?
It was the middle of July.
Okay,
about a month ago, and so she lost it in Orlando. So I had to pretend like Tinkerbell helped the Tooth Fairy find where she was.
Oh, you brought Tinkerbell into it.
Yeah, we brought Tinkerbell because we were on Disney property. So
right.
It was made sense, but the
lies become harder to navigate when you involve more people, Brian. That's
I know, but I think when you involve imaginary people, it's not as
well. It's even tougher. It's even tougher, buddy. But go ahead.
So yeah, Tooth Fairy gave her $20.
Oh.
For the first tooth. But here's the problem. So Aria wanted really much to keep her first tooth. So the Tooth Fairy let her keep her first tooth. Well, the Tooth Fairy assistant, a.k.a. my wife, in her infinite wisdom, decided to get my daughter a tooth box that was magnetic and had a wooden lid that kind of just slid off.
Right.
So when we got home, she wanted to go show Grandma her tooth because Grandma had a 5-spot for her. And
Grandma got to show her teeth too.
Well, Grandma's teeth come out. Yeah, they all come out. Grandma hasn't had teeth for a while.
We still love her though.
Yeah, somebody does. So as my daughter's getting back into the car, she of course drops the tooth. It falls in between the car seats, and we cannot find it.
All right, well,
anywhere. So my daughter's having a meltdown, and I tell her she has another loose tooth, though. So I tell her, hey, the Tooth Fairy will probably let you keep it if you leave a note and ask. So the night before her first day of school for first grade, her tooth's super loose, and now she's panicking for some reason because it's late and she's got school on her mind and everything. So we were up until almost 10 o'clock trying to convince her to let us rip the tooth out.
This is my fucking house the last week.
And so finally, I just fucking grabbed her and I said, "Mommy's pulling it out." And so my wife has this fear of teeth and the dentist and everything, trauma from being a kid.
Oh, but you don't have to have any trauma. It's a little freaky pulling out that tooth because my daughter had it dangling and she was showing me she was pulling pranks and sticking it out of her mouth, and it was horrifying to me.
Yeah, well, it bothered my wife, but so my wife just plucks it out and my daughter's like, "Oh, that was no big deal." So she goes, "Well, since this is kind of like my first tooth again, I bet the Tooth Fairy is going to leave me another 20.
Oh no!
I'm like, son of a bitch. So
you're 20 a tooth.
I'm 40.
Man.
I'm 40 in right now. We're cutting it down. I
don't think you are. And you know what you're doing is you're making me look like shit because we just do $5. That's it. And we don't even have a fucking keep your tooth policy at all.
So $5 is reasonable. The problem is my daughter. So we choiced into an elementary school in Hillsborough that has one of the wealthiest communities that their kids go to it.
Okay.
And all those little fuckers get $20 and they talk about it. And my daughter's young for her age group because she's a May birthday. So she's, all the kids have lost teeth and she's aware of it. So there was no escaping it because my daughter is smart enough to be like, why did the Tooth Fairy give Billy $20 and only gave me $5? So that that's you guys just gave 5 for the first tooth too.
Okay. Oh well. Okay. Easy. Now I'm starting to feel like I'm.
No. I'm saying you guys gave the same amount for every tooth.
I'm not on EBT, okay? But still, I mean, we don't have all this money to chuck for a fucking tooth, okay? She's just gonna take this fucking money and go spend it at Five Below and buy a bunch of crap she's gonna play with for 2 days, and then it's over, Brian. So yes, we try to figure out, how much we're giving her. We've given her $5. And then my mom comes in and she gives her like 20 or 25.
Oh, okay. So you have a tooth fairy, but it's through the family there. I get it.
It's not. Listen. I think $5 for a tooth is quite fine. I think that's great. I'm totally comfortable.
I don't think they deserve anything.
Okay, that's fine too.
I got a fucking quarter. That's what I got. I got quarters, and if I was lucky, I got $1. That's what I got when I was a kid. What about you?
I think I got like 5.
Oh, you were rolling in tooth money.
Yeah, but I haven't gone with inflation at all, so I've just kept it 5 over the years. But I think 5 is a solid number for teeth, and my daughter is very money aggressive, but let her get that fucking money from Grandma. Grandma was the one giving me 5s back in the day, or my mom was, so let my mom break her off the money, okay?
Well, she's breaking her off at 20. My mother-in-law is breaking her off a 5, and we're having to break her off. So your daughter's getting $25 a tooth.
Well, the kids are clearing 25, which is really what the issue that we should be getting down to. No matter who they're getting it from, kids are clearing $25 a fucking tooth, which I got to tell you, doesn't sound like a bad deal.
No, I'd go around to hobos trying to get their teeth.
I think exactly. Yeah, we'll make whatever they fucking call them, whatever those fake teeth are called. That I had to buy.
Veneers.
Veneers. Yeah, I had to buy 4 of those for Phoebe before our wedding. $6,000.
What?
Yeah, she wanted some teeth. She had fucked up teeth.
Oh man.
Oh wait, that was aggressive. She had snaggle teeth, and yeah, I bought her 4 new chiclets when I had money back in the day, and yeah, $6,000.
Woo! You couldn't find a sponsor of the show to fucking
to give her teeth.
Give her teeth?
No, it was. I was never like the kind of guy that liked going to the sales team. I was like, okay, I got this going on in my life, and I'd really like if you guys could go find me an endorsement where, this matches up. The only time that I don't even know if I want to tell this at all because, I don't think any of the hardcore haters are going to be listening to this at all, but the only thing that I really got for free in my radio career was I got a MacBook back in 2005, like, when they were first coming out. And I got Phoebe's engagement ring for based off trade.
Off trade. Oh, for like mentions.
I was endorsing the Golden Diamond source.
Oh, Steve and Julie Weintraub.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they ended up instead of paying me, they gave me a certain amount of money to go spend over there, and that's how I got a ring. So
now, do you get the engagement guarantee where you could upgrade if you wanted, and they'll give you the same value for your ring that you would have paid for it, or does that not apply when you barter?
You've heard a lot of commercials. I believe, I think that's all that's possible, but we haven't really been in an upgrade situation at all. I mean, maybe I could.
Are you thinking about downgrading it? Actually.
I might need to downgrade a little bit just so I can get like a $300 cash advance, and then we'll go upgrade it back. But I mean, I don't even wear my wedding band right now because my figure got a little big, and I took it off. And my wife doesn't seem very concerned about getting me one of those rubber ones either. So I just walk around all day with no wedding band, and nobody's trying to fuck me at all. No one's trying to get with me. No one's flirting with me. None of that stuff, Brian.
Well, I'm sorry about that,
Yeah.
but that's okay. And what about the hair plugs? That wasn't a barter thing?
Yeah, the hair, yeah, but it wasn't. I mean, let's be honest, the hair's going away. I mean, it doesn't look like I got, I have a full fucking range of hair plugs right now.
You know what they say, hair today, gone tomorrow.
Okay, that was good, but I even hate that I call it fucking.
That was terrible.
That's fine. I hate that it's called, I want to encourage you, unlike Bubba, when he fucking slaps you. I want to try to, build you up with positivity to keep taking those swings, okay? Not everything's going to be a knee slapper, Brian, but I still want to encourage mediocre jokes. I forgot. I don't even know what track I was on, but there was something. The conversation that we had a few months ago, where kind of you and Shannon Burke got into it about radio and radio kind of going away.
Oh, and then you mean the next week when?
Yeah, well, that's kind of, and I sat that one out because I've been pretty outspoken about how I feel about radio, considering I left corporate radio because I just didn't believe in it anymore. And the fact of the matter is that it's completely going away. It's the stations that are still around are pulling it together with fucking strings and whatever they can. They're going to pay one person to do multiple jobs. And I know Bubba's talked about this a lot, but I mean, this is true. Like, this is like iHeart pays minimum wage. I mean, they pay people that have 20, 30 years of experience, like $12 an hour. That's it.
Yeah, it's sad. And when you disrespect the medium like that, of course you're going to, at that point, you're going to get what you pay for, you know?
Right. So, I mean, the talent has been able to find other things. People are, there's a whole generation of people that don't even fucking know about the radio. Yeah, radios are still in cars, but I'm telling you that people don't utilize it like they once did. So I was on your side in that conversation. I could get when Shannon was coming from, because he was the program director of a radio station at the time. But, I mean, how did you, when that all fucking happened, did you feel like you had just really fucked up?
Well, it was weird because Bubba was kind of quiet. And I felt odd because it wasn't anything that Bubba hadn't said on the show numerous times before. Right. So it was weird. And I don't think Shannon was kind of fully understanding what I was saying is, yeah, talk radio. Yeah, there's certain pockets of radio that are still doing okay, but radio as a whole is down. And so, yeah, like, listening to music channels and everything, I mean, there's a reason they're all switching formats and going to the cheapest, format they can possibly do and going to robo players and things like that and cutting, now interns are essentially running the show there. So I was a little taken aback by it. He was pretty aggressive. I think all of the data supports me.
Oh, yeah,
He's such a data-driven guy, and for him, and I get it at the time, he's a program director at a radio station, but I don't think me acknowledging that radio is a dying medium gets anybody who's listening to the radio to stop listening to the radio.
No.
So I don't, that part kind of, I was a little befuddled by that because I'm like, well, Even if what I'm saying is true or not true, why would you be afraid to have the discussion about it? And
it's like, well, it's not even anything that you really need to do a ton of research on. You just need to look around. They're taking full-time employees. They're taking them down to part-time employees. They're firing part-time employees. There's a cap on your hours. There's a cap on what you're able to make. I mean, it's not anything where you would ever go, hey, I'm looking to get into radio. Is anybody coming up in high school right now going, I want to write for the newspaper?
Is anybody coming up in high school right now that's listened to the radio?
No.
Like, that's the thing. Like, think about when we were teenagers, and I mean, you would listen to the radio.
I listened to Wild 90 was Wild 98.7 back in the day. I listened to Wild. I listened to 97X when it first came on.
When Wild came out, it was such a big deal to my generation.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, there's this new station. There's these two guys.
It was a huge deal. I listened to fucking Love Line at night on 98 Rock. Like, I was very involved in the radio, which is why I got into radio.
Right. And that is gone.
Yes.
So when you have no future customers, it is a very dark day for your industry. When all of your consumers are 40 to 70-year-olds, that is not a strong market for growth.
Right.
And that was kind of my larger point. Regina's daughter is 22 years old. I don't think she could tell you any radio. Like, the only reason she's aware of radio is because of Bubba.
Right.
Other than that, she wouldn't be able to tell you what any. I could give her the dial signal numbers for every station in town. She wouldn't be able to tell me what music they play.
Well, I mean, a lot of it should, and just to swing it back to politics for all the people that like to jerk off to it. I mean, if you even see. Apparently, Barron Trump is kind of, giving his dad advice on doing media, and Donald Trump did a sit-down interview with Aiden Ross, who I think is, probably the biggest streamer in the world. He sat down and did a podcast with Theo Vaughn. I'm sure you've seen those clips going around where Theo Vaughn's talking about
doing cocaine
and fucking hanging out with Kid Rock, and Trump's like, Trump goes, that sounds dirty. When he was talking about cocaine, and he goes, the economy was doing, 4 years ago or 8 years ago, whatever, and Theo Vaughn's like, I know, my cousin bought a boat then. So I mean, but you're putting Trump in these media situations where normally it would be, what radio is he going on the radio morning show in New York, or is he going on the radio morning show in L.A.? And do we have a chance at him? But it's not like that anymore. I mean, obviously they're going to hit up every corner of the promotional interview universe that they can. But it's just these are like the spots where people want to be now. And these are the spots where the kids are, and that just show you where all the fucking media is going. So I just wanted to tell you that I wrote that down. I know you fucking had to take it that day. It'd be tough to sit there and argue while we were on Orlando radio about how radio is going downhill. But I just wanted to let you know that that I was on your side.
Well, I appreciate that. And, again, even with that, I wasn't super worried. I was more worried about Bubba being upset or Shannon giving flack back to Bubba, because I'm not here, despite what Bubba may think, I'm not here to cause him pain or problems. I'm here to help him out. If he told me tomorrow, hey, I'm done with you, don't ever come back, I would leave. I wouldn't be like other people on the show that would fight him on it, that would refuse to go or take a hint. I would, if he said, look, man, it's just not working out, you're more trouble than you're worth, I'd be like, okay, man, I understand. This is your deal. This is your profession. This is your livelihood. I'm flattered that he brings me in and finds me interesting enough and humorous enough to put me on his platform, which is a large platform. I mean, there's not many personalities in America that could do what he did, which was to transition from that traditional media to new media and have any level of success. And that's going to be the problem for the people that I'm not allowed to talk about or mention.
I was going to say, you got your list of people you're not allowed to talk about anymore?
Yeah, I've got that list.
Okay.
I was sent that audio by Lummy, and
he sent you the audio, really?
It said, Bubba would like you to listen to this, please.
Isn't that so funny how Bubba has meetings? He does it on the air. No, Slummy's got to send the audio.
Yeah. And Lummy's got to edit it, chop up send that to Brian. I want him to know, okay? And it's so fun. What's funny to me, too, is, like, I don't know if he has time to marinate over it or what, but I'll have some shows with Bubba where I thought I was maybe a little dickish, or he and then afterwards we'll go outside and talk, and he's like totally cool with me. And then 2 days later, or the next day when Dan's in here or whatever, the council had gotten with him or whatever, all of a sudden he'll be mad at me. And I'm like, well, you were outside with me, dude, like right after the show. If there was a problem, say it then.
Well, Bubba probably had something he probably had something he wanted to talk to you about. He
needed me for something in the moment.
If he went outside, he probably had something. So he probably wasn't. I can't explain Bubba's mindset or when shit comes into his mind at all. But I know that we do have a full list, I believe, of 6 things we're not allowed to talk about anymore. And, it's not just you, Brian. We're not allowed to bring them up either. So.
Well, now I'm just going to start calling Bubba my little mogwai, I'm going to call him Bubba Gizmo.
Don't get him wet.
No, he comes with a list of fucking rules, man. It's you can have your spot on the show, but you can't do this, you can't do this. He's got to be fed at a certain time. He has to take his pills at a certain time. If that doesn't happen, then this is going to happen. He's like a little mogwai.
Now, I talked to you, there's another thing where I asked you, we were talking about Eminem, and I had asked you if you had listened to the new album, and you said that you've been very busy, and I've sat with that for a while now, Brian, and I got to tell you, I don't think that you can be too busy to listen to music, so I am trying to figure out what consists of how busy you are throughout a day that you can't sit down and relax and listen to, a genius spit for 50 minutes.
No, you're right, and I should, and he does spit straight fire, and I did fall in love with the Houdini song, and when that came out, and I was amped for that, and then I just, maybe because I'm not cool, I just did not follow through. And
you don't have that? Let me ask you this, because I still fucking love music. Like, music, I think even over probably sports is my first love, or, going to concerts and stuff. Do you have that with any groups or artists where you see that they have new shit come out and you're like, oh my God, I have to hear this immediately, or is that completely gone?
I used to have it and it's gone. When my wife and I went out to Vegas for our 10th anniversary last year, and we went to the When We Were Young festival, I had the realization that I don't have the same passion for live music and for music in general that I once did.
Who played that show that you were When We Were Young? That
one was Green Day.
Oh wow.
Blink 182.
Holy fuck.
Who else was there?
Jimmy World.
Fucking terrible. Jared Leto. 30 Seconds to Mars.
I don't like them.
He's the worst. He is the worst.
Met him. He did a lot of shows for 97X back in the day.
So when he first started, he was like a normal human being. And, my so-called life, Jared Leto, was like normal. He was the weirdest fucking dude on stage now. And
he's the epitome of an artist. I told you I fancy myself, but that guy, between the acting and the music.
But I think he's fallen into that. I don't think that that's who he was. I think he became that.
Can I tell you what, Brian? I never gravitated towards 30 Seconds to Mars when I worked at 97X because they were a lot of girls were drawn to them. They were almost like the boy band of alternative music. So a lot of people just were obsessed with Jared Leto, but Jared Leto turned into the godlike rock star. Maybe if that's the picture that you're drawing of him, that happened a while ago.
But he did it without any good music. Like, that's the part I don't get.
They still have that. That is true. I've never.
Their first album was okay, and then I think he had From Yesterday, and then that was it. He has got like 3 good songs, and he holds himself out like he's this fucking rock god.
You know, and it's they're in town. I don't know if it's like this week or in a couple of days. They're playing the amphitheater, and probably my favorite band of all time, AFI. They're opening up for 30 Seconds to Mars, and of course, I'd have to pay probably $150 to get inside this fucking 30 Seconds to Mars show. But I'm not even going to go see AFI just because I don't want to see them open up because I'm not going to get a full set. But I also don't want to be at a 30 Seconds to Mars show.
Yeah, no. So the rest of it though was good. They had the Offspring. Good Charlotte, Rise Against was amazing.
Dude, this is an incredible show. This confirmed that you were done with music.
Yellow Card, Sum 41, Simple Plan, Newfound Glory, Something Corporate had their reunion there.
Oh man,
we're going now. As I say, I'm done with live music. My wife, for her birthday, I bought her tickets to see Something Corporate in Orlando.
Are you going with her?
Yes.
Man, I didn't know you guys were Something Corporate fans.
She is huge. Andrew McMahon, we did the meet and greet with him at the amphitheater when he was there for Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, and then we went and we had special tickets that we got to the Hard Rock Cafe. He was doing a special show after show there, and he showed up for it and did 5 songs and actually held on to me during the chorus of one of them, which was pretty cool.
You mean he actually held on to you?
Like we were embraced, like shoulder to shoulder.
Wow.
And I was singing along with him.
I thought it was like a musical embrace, but it was like a real physical embrace.
No, yeah, and it lasted like 20 seconds. It wasn't short. That's right up there when I was with my ex-wife, Mariah Carey. She was in her glitter recovery tour, and
she held you also.
My ex was much bigger fan. She held her hand.
I thought you were going to say she was much bigger.
She was also. That's the best 145, 150 pounds I ever lost.
Well, that's a great concert, man.
Oh, Bowling for Soup. Yeah. Say Anything. Michelle Branch.
Oh, I love Michelle.
Goldfinger.
Love Michelle Branch.
I'm just looking at the list here. Motion City Soundtrack, All Time Low.
Avril Lavigne or Michelle Branch, who you take it?
Avril Lavigne, 100 times over.
You like the skater boy.
It's not even close.
Skater girl. Skater boy?
Well, she's just great. Avril Lavigne's great artist, great.
She was good. They were trying to make her alternative back in the day, but she was pop. Everybody could see through it, but it was cool. She had a good career. I think she's still going.
Is she still wasn't she with the lead singer of
Nickelback?
No.
Sum 41?
Sum 41.
Yeah, no, that's been she's on like her 10th guy.
Oh.
I mean, you got to keep up. I'm not really sure, Brian.
She hasn't aged. Like, she looks great still.
No, she does. She does. And it's crazy that there's Something Corporate Andrew McMahon shit because I was at 97X, an alternative station in Tampa, since 2001 when I was an intern. They played our first ever Next Big Thing in 2001, and you never look at this band and go, wow, this guy is going to be around in 20 years. Like, this guy's going to have another band. This guy's like, people are going to still be following this guy to Orlando. Like, you never see that. I called my buddy yesterday who lives out in LA, who builds a bunch of fucking movie sets and everything like that. He just worked on the set of Keeping Up the Kardashians. He built the set for Khloe Kardashian's birthday. But him and I went to go see Theo Von at the Tampa Improv about 18 years ago, and Theo Von had canceled his interview that he was supposed to do on the show with us. So it was my idea that we were going to go out, we were going to heckle Theo Von, and we were going to record it and do all this shit. And we went out there and we were all on these edibles, and my buddy started shouting stuff at Theo Von, and Theo Von took something that he said, turned it around, made it funny as shit. We were like, we love this guy. And now Theo Von's like one of the biggest podcasters in the world. So I called him and just go, I can't believe, somebody that we knew or we were going to fuck with this long ago turned into something. Like, I just think as I'm getting older, Brian, and maybe it's just me from being in the entertainment business, but seeing some of these careers that these guys have had when they came from, just coming off a Road Rules TV show or something like that and turning into like a fucking big time career. I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. The amazing thing with Andrew McMahon, so he was Something Corporate, then he broke off and did Jack's Mannequin.
Yes.
And then he did Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, and now he's back with Something Corporate, which is funny because like two of the guys that were his bandmates are totally corporate now. One's like a corporate attorney, and the other guy, I think, sells insurance or some shit. So they got out of music, and then he brought them back together, and I guess they had a falling out. I don't know what the deal was. I really don't care.
Yeah, we're not going to get... This isn't we got to the bottom of the Something Corporate, Jack's Mannequin, Into the Wilderness issues.
Yeah. So, but he does a good show. My wife enjoys him. I'll definitely get laid that night. So it's all good.
There you go. If you see Jordan, just let her know that she makes me sick. And there was one more... All right, talk to me about your fantasy football draft. How many leagues are you in? And then I know... Did you have it already? Because you were asking me about CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill.
No, I have 3 that I'm in.
You strike me as the kind of... Don't take this the wrong way. You strike me as the kind of guy that gets a fantasy football magazine.
No, I do some light research in the days leading up. I'll read a couple articles. So my league that I'm 2-time champion, 3-time regular season champion of. The only season I didn't win, I lost in the first round of the playoffs, but I was just dominant all year long. It sucked.
Nobody cares.
But I do. That one I'm picking second in. It's a 12-man league, half PPR. I did convince the commissioner to go to 6 points any quarterback touchdown.
Wow, that didn't even have to go to a league vote?
No. I mentioned it, and nobody objected. I just hate the emphasis on rushing quarterbacks. They already get fucking rewarded with the yards. So why do we need to reward them with 6 points for a touchdown versus 4 points for a passing touchdown? They both should be equal.
So you want to make somebody like Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow just as valuable as like fucking, a Jaden Daniels or Lamar
let me ask you this.
Jackson?
Should Joe Burrow be less valuable than Kyler Murray?
No.
Exactly. And that's my point. Because he is if you play by the other rules. He is less valuable than Kyler Murray if you play 6 point rushing touchdown for only 4 point passing touchdown. I'm not even asking for extra points for yards or anything. Like, I'm in another league. It's a 10-man league. The guys set it up so that each position, like the scoring is so that each position pretty much, with the exception of tight end, scores you the same points every week. So quarterback is the most important position in that league.
Okay, all right. I like that.
Because you're only starting one. But yeah, so I think that it's a good change. I like it. I hate the fact that if you don't get one of the 5 rushing quarterbacks, you're fucked. And so
there's a lot of QBs though, Brian. Like that's the thing is like, and it's this year, and it's really every year. There's just so many guys because you have your standard quarterbacks that you can take, like the top tier guys, and then you have your guys that like you could take Caleb Williams, you could take Jared Goff, you could take fucking Kirk Cousins. Like any of these guys could put up 2-3 touchdown passes a week. That's why I just feel like it's always that position where I feel like I can wait and grab somebody awesome.
Yeah, I definitely wait. I don't jump. I'm not a get Mahomes, get Josh Allen type of guy. Especially this year with Josh Allen. I'm selling the Bills heavy.
Really?
Yeah. Who's he going to throw to?
Well,
who's his fucking number one?
I think Dalton Kincaid. I think they got the Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid.
Oh, good. So he'll be throwing to tight ends.
Look, Brian, I don't know how getting rid of Stephon Diggs necessarily makes your team better at all. I think that
and Gabe Davis, they're both gone.
Right. I don't know I don't know if this is just going to be a year where it's just like they couldn't get Josh Allen the weapons he needed, so they're going to get him next year. I don't know if this is a down year for the Bills. The Bills have been, in the mix for the last few years, and like at some point they're gonna, it's gonna come back where they're not. I don't know, if this means that the fucking Jets are gonna surpass them or the Dolphins are gonna surpass them. But I'm with you on
Khalil
that
one. Shakir, Keon Coleman, and Curtis Samuel. That's their starting wideouts. Now, Curtis Samuel's a good receiver. The problem for Curtis Samuel's, he's not a number one.
No, he's a complimentary guy.
He's never been. So who's the number one there? Shakir? I mean, they have no number one receiver.
Listen,
tell me a team that's successful in the NFL that doesn't have a number one wideout.
We will.
Other than Kansas City, who wins the Super Bowl every year.
I mean, could you even name? I can't even name a guy right now because Kadarius Toney, I read, might get cut.
Rasheed Rice?
Oh, yeah. Rasheed Rice. Well, they got Hollywood Brown, who's hurt.
Didn't they draft a kid, though?
Yes. I think that they did. But
yeah, I thought they did. I thought they got somebody that's decent.
But who knows? Like I don't know if that's going to make any necessarily huge.
Oh
impact
no,
right
they
now,
did. They have Marquette. They have Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I think
and Xavier Worthy. That's the one.
Oh, from Texas.
That's the one to watch.
He was the one that ran like
he's
the 4.2.
He's Tyreek 2.0.
Yeah,
and so that we already know what Patrick Mahomes can do with a receiver like that. I mean, he's probably one of my sleeper picks in the fantasy draft. I mean, I might go Xavier Worthy in the fifth or sixth round.
Oh my goodness, that's super early.
Well, I know it is, but I think his upside is tremendous. Tremendous. In the preseason, 3 catches, 62 yards, and a touchdown already. One carry for 11 yards. So they've shown that they're going to engage him in the running game and the passing game. I mean, you have Kelsey that they've got a double team still underneath, which means Worthy's going to be able to take the lid off over the top.
Here we go. Brian, big Worthy guy. You going to buy any of his cards this year?
I'll probably start getting on him.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. The problem is I'm not heavy. Because wide receivers just, they're okay cards, but the QBs are the money cards, right?
Yes.
I mean, let's face it. And so
there's almost really, to me, no point in collecting anything other than quarterbacks unless you just really like the guy. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Brian, Puka Nacua rookie cards are going for more than Justin Jefferson rookie cards. Like, so how do you even fucking explain
recency bias?
Right, that's the whole thing. It's like, but that's like, so I got a Justin Jefferson rookie card, guys, the best in the league, all this shit, and now one guy comes on, has a great rookie season, and now his shit's worth more. So that's why it's just like, to me, when it's a quarterback, there's really no denying it at all. But I was taught early on when I got back into cards about just in football, it's only quarterbacks, and that's why baseball and basketball are great sports to get cards up, because anybody could pop off and be a star. Anybody in football, anybody in basketball, anybody in baseball could be a star. In football, it's the quarterback, and then it's everybody else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. Like basketball, point guard, center, doesn't matter. You're 100% right. But
did you decide if you're going to get CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill?
I think I'm going to go. I've got until Monday to make or Sunday rather, to make my decision. I'm hoping. I've been hoping that there was some resolution. Breece Hall's also there, and so
how did Breece Hall become like a top something pick?
Because towards the end of last season, he really showed out without Aaron Rodgers, and I think everybody's thinking with Rodgers, he'll just be all that much better. I'm not going with Hall. I'm not going with Bijan. I'm definitely going. I'm picking safe here. I mean, Breece Hall didn't even get 1,000 yards last year. He only scored 5 touchdowns.
And they also, Zach Wilson was there. Like, I feel like Breece Hall was probably their total offense, when I would think that Garrett Wilson this year is probably going to be the fucking guy that you would want on that offense.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, because the one thing you cannot afford to do is miss in the first round of your fantasy draft. If your first round guy gets injured for the year, or is a holdout and doesn't perform, whatever it is, you're fucked. I mean, you're done almost. No. In most leagues, especially in a 12-team league, it's hard to recover from that. And so I'll go with Tyreek because he's the safest bet. I mean, if CeeDee Lamb misses the first 2 weeks, Tyreek's going to have more points than him, period. Unless Tyreek gets hurt. Now, Tyreek is 30, so you've got that starting to creep in. But he plays so many fewer snaps than every other number one wide receiver in the NFL. So he is not out there on the regular basis blocking and taking the punishment.
Well, they're also they're not putting him out there to fucking run block and all that shit. And I think probably a good reason why he's off the field a lot is because when he's catching those 40, 50-yard bombs that, he needs a fucking rest. So he's coming off for a little bit. But listen, that's the most, Mike McDaniels is fucking awesome. Like, that's a great, they still have Odell Beckham Jr., Jalen Waddle. I don't think it matters. I think Tyreek Hill is going to get his until further notice. I know the guy's 30, but you only got him on your team for this year. It's not like you're signing him to a 5-year contract or anything. So I think you're good with that.
So my plan right now is Hill, and then I'm going to grab the best available running back coming back through, and then either Mike Evans or Marvin Harrison Jr.
You should draft after your first pick.
Odunze.
Roma Dunzier.
Dunzier?
No, you should draft the best player available, whether it's a running back or a wide receiver.
Well, I agree with that, but because I'm at the turn there, so first of all, this year, second pick, worst fucking pick to have. The worst.
I agree. I
because
like
number one is clearly McCaffrey. Nobody's not choosing him. If you don't, you're mentally handicapped. And then 2 through 8 could be. I mean, it could be Amon-Ra St. Brown. Could be I don't think Justin Jefferson will with Sam Darnold throwing to him, but
Jamar Chase.
Jamar. Well, yeah, I'm not sold on him either.
But yeah, you're right. CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill.
I mean,
Justin
all
Jefferson.
of them. I mean, and maybe Breece Hall, Bijan. Maybe they all just blow up with their offenses changing and everything.
Let's not forget about my boy DJ Moore.
But at least you get the guys coming back in round 2. Now you got to sit. So I get 2, and then I get fucking 23. And that's the drop off.
You do get that very close back to back there almost when you go 23 and then you probably got 26, 25?
25.
Yeah.
Oh no, 26, you're right. Yeah, 23, 26. Yeah, which is okay, but I would rather have 6, 18, 20, like that way, 30. Like that to me that's better. 6, 18, 30 is better than 2, especially this year. If there was like a clear second tier that was 3 dudes like most years, I would be much happier picking in second, third, or fourth.
Listen, I had the 6th pick last year in one league, Brian, and my thing was just take.
Who'd you take?
I took Tyreek Hill.
Yeah,
and I mean, like I got to the Super Bowl last year.
So think about that. He fell to number 6 last year. He's going number 2 this year.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how much. Like that's how that. There's just nothing. There's no visible gap between 2 and 8. And that's why you'd rather.
Awesome, and that's why I think that's what's great about fantasy football. Is like I feel like back in the day it was like, all right, LaDainian Tomlinson, then Adrian Peterson, then and then this Curtis Martin, and everything was locked in with your running backs, and it's completely fucking changed. And, you've got tight ends that are in the mix, wide receivers that are. I mean, it's a wide receiver dominated league right now. You could find a running back off waivers at some point. These guys are going to go down, so I think that's great. Now, like I'm not going to take Amon-Ra St. Brown in the first round. I think he's awesome. I'm not going to take Nico Collins in the first round. But yeah, there are a lot of great fucking wide receivers, and that's where in those second, third, fourth rounds, when you're getting those guys, you're figuring out that's where I think the fantasy football teams are won.
Can we talk about how the Texans are probably going to go to the NFC the AFC Championship game this year?
They have quite a bit of talent.
I mean, look at their receiving core. Can you name me, other than maybe the Bears, a team that has 3 better wideouts? Diggs, Collins, and Dell? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I don't think so. I mean,
and then now they got Joe Mixon?
They're stacked. They're absolutely stacked. And they got Will Anderson last year. They drafted him. And I love that they were aggressive trying to go after Stephon Diggs. Brian, and it's what you have to do. And it's exciting to see because when you got the quarterback on the rookie contract and you've got the guy, like the Texans have the guy, like the Bears believe they have the guy with Caleb Williams. They were trying to go after Matthew Judon. You are going all in to get that Super Bowl within the first 4 years before they want that contract extension and they get into that 5th-year option and all that shit. So, yeah, you gotta load these guys up fucking immediately, and that's what they're doing. And I think it's going to be great to see. They're setting these guys up for success, and these guys are the future. So I'm all about it. I think that the Texans could go far this year. Probably, do I think they're going to knock off the Chiefs? Do I think they're in that category? No, I don't. I still think that the Chiefs are fucking, head and shoulders above the rest, but it's great to see new teams come out of nowhere.
I think the Chiefs, the Bucks laid the blueprint for beating them, and other teams just have not followed.
Wasn't that like 3 years ago, though?
Yeah, but the Chiefs, I mean, they improved their offensive line, but if you look at, they're a team that the sum of the parts is way less than the whole. I mean, they as a whole team, they function so well. But if you look at them talent-wise, they are not better now than they were 3 years ago.
I mean, they don't have Tyreek Hill. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco, I think, is a fucking great running game. I don't know if it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire or who the running back was back then, but they found a good running back late. Rashee Rice is, I think, very, very good. He had a lot of issues in the offseason, but I think that he's a guy obviously that could step up. Travis Kelce's probably just going to be there a couple more years, but I
mean, that team in 2020 went 14-2, dude.
Yeah, listen.
I mean, that was the best Chiefs team that they've put together.
Possibly, and the Bucks got him, but I mean the Chiefs are at 2 Super Bowls in a row right now, right? that they've won. So I mean,
and that's what I don't get. Like they're not a substantially better team than they're a worse team. They had Sammy Watkins, Demarcus Robinson, Tyreek Hill.
No, that sounds like that's garbage. I mean,
what?
That's horrible.
Watkins?
Watkins was the big. I love Sammy Watkins, but he's one of the biggest busts ever. He got drafted number 4 by Buffalo. I'm not sure he even ever had a 1,000-yard season.
No, but he was as a third wideout for them. That's pretty solid.
Well, listen, here's the thing, Brian, is that no matter who the wide receivers are, because we've seen that it doesn't matter whether it's Kadarius Toney, whether it's Rashee Rice, whether it's Tyreek Hill, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Andy Reid, it's Travis Kelce. Like that's what makes it go, and Chris Jones on the defense. Like that's what makes that team go, and that's totally okay. And when you're paying those guys like Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce, you can't afford a Tyreek Hill. You can't afford a Stephon Diggs. So you have to try to supplement it with,
Xavier Worthy.
Xavier Worthy or Marquez Valdez-Scantling or, Sammy Watkins or any of these other guys, and I get that. But I think that Patrick Mahomes is so good, and Travis Kelce is his number one guy, his number one receiver, and he's better than some of these other guys that we're talking about, despite him being a tight end. I feel like that's what makes the Chiefs great.
So you were shocked by my Xavier Worthy thing. I just checked.
I'm not.
He has moved all the way up to 55 in average draft position.
Wow. That's interesting, again, with rookies and not having to see it play out, not knowing if he's going to be a third option to Mahomes with Travis Kelce and
well, Rice's uncertainty, he's going to be suspended, right? I mean,
I don't know. They might wait for the legal process to play out, Brian. I don't know how the NFL does this shit anymore. I don't know if they do their own. NFL sometimes waits for the investigation to play out. Sometimes the NFL does their own investigation. Sometimes the team looks into it. Like, I don't know how they're going to handle it, but everything I've seen with Rashee Rice seems like they're ready to go with him this year. I mean, anything could happen during the year, but it seems like it's all speed ahead or whatever the fuck they say.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy's since August 11th, he has improved average draft position almost 10 spots.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
There you go. Brian giving you a little fucking fantasy football sleeper. All right, well, listen, we got to get to the card show because you got to go home to your family. We got shit to do. So I appreciate you doing this podcast. I have a couple of names for it that I'm kicking around.
Oh, yeah. What are your names? I gave you the Blizzard because we're the snowflakes, right?
I got Purple Power. I've got...
Purple Power? Oh, because we're not quite Democrats?
It's a card. It's a Purple Power is a card.
What?
It's a type of parallel.
But who makes it?
It is a Mosaic Purple Power out of 49. So,
do they have a White Power one?
No, bitch. They don't have a White Power one. I was just trying to come up with something like in the card world that wouldn't be like, hey, we're going to talk about cards and shit. I also thought about Baby Seth just because, we take a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then I got a couple other things that I'm working on. I thought about did I tell you about the plight of the white?
The plight of the white?
Yeah, I feel like the plight of the white man is something that's a big topic in this world that we live in. So I figured that you and we could be the guys that talk about the plight of the white man and everything that's kind of holding the white man down these days.
So we're just hanging out. So what about the hangout?
We're done.
All right.